started.
Oh, H knight. All right. So H knight played E4. Let's see, I played a Rui recently as black, so played a Sicilian, a French defense. Yeah, let's go with the Sicilian again. The immediate D4. So this is the Smith-Morra attack. I guess I'm going to go ahead and play into it. Usually I decline the Smith-Morra by playing knight to F6, and you get into a version of the Alpine defense. So, but I'm going to try, for the entertainment of our viewers here, try and play against the dreaded Smith-Morra gambit. So the danger here is after knight f6, he often pushes this pawn. So let's try it this way. I think you need to make some defensive pawn moves here when you're defending against the Smith-Morra. Because he has quick development with his pieces. You need to take away squares, basically, because he can come invading here with his knights, and his bishop often gets a good post here on f4, you know, and triangulating on squares like c7 here, knight b5, bishop f4. All these are good moves, and I have to be careful. So I'm delaying the development of that knight, although eventually I guess it has to go to f6. Now, this is another idea. When the bishop goes to e3, it's putting pressure on the b6 square, and the knight can go to a4, and they can double up and gang up on that square. So it's a little hard to slow this down. Maybe I should play b5 immediately. Normally you can't play b5 too soon because this knight is under attack, but here it's not. I mean, normally, I mean, in a lot of Sicilians there's a knight on d4 attacking that knight, so you can't just play this move. But here it's maybe safe. Okay, and now let's try developing the knight to f6. So hopefully you need to squash White's attacking ideas, which he has a lot of. So that's the point of all these pawn moves. It's not it's so great moving all these pawns in the opening. It's just that you need to put a stop to all of his counterplay. So this is another idea. A lot of times I see the queen on e2 instead of c2, but this has its points too. He can push here and maybe double attack here, and then the rook here pins this pawn. So I think I need to unpin with the queen. So let's move the queen here. Now he's doubling up on this file. This can be dangerous. Let's defend the knight. If that knight moves, this knight is under attack and could be taken. So let's defend it. And what else has he got? Knight moves, bishop moves. This knight could come into the square here. Or the pawn push is still something that's possible. Pawn push, knight takes, and now he's got a third guy in this, but maybe I can just take because this knight is still here. And if the knight moves with tempo, I can exchange queens and then do something about the knight if it hasn't gone anywhere too awful. Yeah, so black is, looks like, I mean, white is thinking of a plan, trying to come up with a plan. Yeah, so knight to there. And if he gets in this pawn push, then he's double attacking the knight, and if the knight moves, then he's got an attack on this square. So I think I want to kick the knight, even though that's not an immediate threat somehow, because pawn push, I don't have to move the knight, I can take the pawn. So I guess at this point, if he's going to reroute the knight. So the knight from there could go to this square f4, hitting e5, and maybe here. And he has, oh, this is interesting, this diagonal here is always a threat. So for example, if this pawn were eliminated, the knight could come to f4 and then to g6, because this pawn would be pinned by the bishop. But that's not happening yet, so let's continue supporting the queen and the knight. And now, queen went over there, yeah. Now, queen a5 is an idea, but maybe it's not the right idea. Queen a5 doesn't do much. Sometimes it helps in these Sicilians. So I want to maybe get my queen over to the corner, and then I can try and get some pressure along this diagonal here. And that would be an more active plan for me. And I may sacrifice this pawn here. I'm a pawn up, and I may have to give a pawn back at some point. Okay, his bishop is rerouting to a different diagonal. So now I can play knight to e5, but he can play f4. Knight e5, f4, knight c4, hitting the bishop. Maybe it's an idea. He can move the bishop and then harass the knight. Let's try it. And yeah, maybe this diagonal to his king has been opened is pretty possibly dangerous. So if I could take the bishop, queen takes, and then push this pawn, I'm threatening bishop to bishop c5, skewering or pinning the queen to the king. And so he just drops back. Now, do I want to play that anyway? There is a danger here. The rook, the knight doesn't have many squares to go to. Let's see, that's out, that's out, that's out, that's out. That's possible, but not very appetizing. Here is out, and here. So if I push this d pawn, he can push. And can my knight come to this square? No, it can't because of his knight. Yeah, I guess it can, because I have a pawn supporting it. So if he pushes, I'll just put my knight there, and if he takes, and we'll take back. And my stranded knight, how stranded is it? It could take this pawn too, although if he pushes with this pawn, I can take that pawn. It hits his bishop again. Maybe possible. I'll deal with that when I get there, I guess. So he takes, and I can take, and I can get this bishop to c4 in. He got his pawn back. Yeah, that happens a lot in the Smith-Morra. You just hope that you've won it back at a good point. So if I don't take his bishop, I don't see any other move, really. I can leave it there for him to take and move a different piece. This knight. Oh, here's an idea. If I take this pawn, he takes my bishop, I take his rook, he takes my rook. Well, the thing is, if I take the pawn and queen takes, then I can play bishop takes bishop. So that just wins a pawn. So I have to look at other ideas. So knight here, bishop takes. Knight takes rook, bishop takes rook. And knight takes bishop, queen takes bishop, rook takes bishop. I think I lose the exchange there. No, that's not true. He's picked up a bishop, a rook, and a knight, and I picked up a rook, a bishop, and a pawn. Let's try it. Let's try this. I would analyze that longer and make sure I got it right in a long game. But it looks like an interesting tactic. He takes there first. His rook is still hanging. And his bishop, if queen takes rook, bishop takes bishop. If the rook moves, I just retreat the knight. And if bishop takes rook, knight takes, bishop takes bishop, knight takes rook. Bishop takes rook, knight takes bishop. And that's just even material. If queen takes knight, then queen takes there, so I take there. He takes, I take, and it's a queen and a queen
Server
and a piece.
Announcement.
A queen and a piece each. Yeah, okay, so that worked out. And so I got my pawn back, so I'm still a pawn up. Won the pawn in the gambit, gave it back, and then won it back. And now it's a bishop versus knight in game. So my bishop is attacking his pawn here. My queen is threatening to come here with check. I could just exchange down to a one endgame, perhaps. Perhaps. I can try pinning the knight. Let me see. I'm guessing he could just play queen to b2. It defends the pawn and defends his back rank, so my queen can't come there and check. Bishop here would pin that knight, but it's a couple moves. I can't. A couple moves to get a battery going. If he does that, though, isn't it good just to win a pawn? If I check first.
Check.
He can block with the knight or the queen, or he can move his king to h2. Then how do I want to take this pawn? I think I should take it. If I take with the queen, it's defending here, and then the bishop stays back, defending some squares around my king. If I take with the bishop, maybe I have more of a chance of lining up here. No, I think I like taking with the queen better, keeping the bishop for safety reasons back here. So I just need to get my queen out of the way and push these pawns through. I think that's my winning plan here. Yeah, he can come in and attack my weakened back rank. So I was thinking I could allow that and just defend with the bishop, but I have to be really careful here because the knight can hop in somewhere maybe. Knight to one of these light squares. There, or there. That's the square it could get to. But it's got a ways to go, and the queen can defend the bishop. So I'm going to ignore his threat and I think I can queen a pawn first. So queen here check, bishop here is my idea. Bishop to f8. And then there's no more checks, and then he starts moving his knight. I can push the pawn.
Check.
So to get to this square, the knight has to go there, there. And when I push here, it's another idea. Let's think for a second. Knight here, check. Pawn takes, pawn takes. He's a little dangerous looking because he gets a pawn there and he's maybe can reposition his queen. But his queen would have to make a few moves to get over here, and I have time. I think I have time to do this. Could be wrong, we'll see. So knight here to get to the E. That's d7. To get to the d7 square, knight to c5 to d7 is not possible because the queen and the bishop are both on that square. So I can take with the queen, even though the bishop is pinned. I can take with the queen. Queen takes, bishop takes. So we can't get in that way. And this is a very risky idea here, sacking a piece. But it does leave my king in a very tight box over there, so I'd have to be careful. Goes that way. Okay, he can go after this pawn, which is a little weak. Yeah. Maybe I can't take it. So how can he attack this pawn? He can put his queen to here. Oh man, I may have gotten myself in trouble here. Puts his queen up on the second rank, anywhere, 1, 2, 3, or to this square. So I can guard that square with the queen here, but then he can go here. Okay, so if I push, he goes here. I queen, he goes here, check. And I have two queens. But he's delivering a check right here. And where do I go? I go to that square. So there's no check from the knight. And there's no check from the queen. So after that, he can take the bishop, and then I get a free move. Is that enough to save the game? Oh, well, we'll see. This is pretty, maybe an exciting finish. One idea is if he comes to the second rank, I could just take the knight. So I guess he goes to this square, which is e8, queen e8, I queen, and he takes. So if he comes to here to try and stop me from queening, then I'll just take his knight. Yep, so I think White's try at this point is queen e8, I queen, he takes with check. I go king h7, and that's White's move. You can take the knight. I'm actually guarding this diagonal with the queen. I mean, he can take the bishop. Can he do something with the knight to threaten mate? Maybe knight. So the queen is here, maybe knight to there, threatening to take this square, but it's still defended by the bishop, so he really needs to take the bishop, and then yeah, he goes there. Okay, so that allows me to unpin. That unpins my bishop. So my idea there was knight, bishop takes, pawn or queen takes. Say bishop takes, queen takes, pawn takes, and king here. I'm close enough to stop the pawn from queening, and he can't stop mine. And so I think that's and if he takes with the pawn, then I'll just queen. And I'm betting with two queens I can stop that guy from queening. Although he will get a check or two. Just one check, I think. So pawn takes, pawn here queen, and he gets a check and drives me to the h7 square again, but then this bishop is guarding, I mean this queen, the queen on b1 here is guarding that diagonal, b1 to h7.
White resigns.
All right, well, I thought that was a great game. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm going to go ahead and post this today. It'll be my second and last game today. Like I said, I'm going to be going away from my computer for a while, so there won't be any new games for about a week, but here I gave you a bunch of videos to look at in the meantime. Hope you guys enjoyed them, and see you later. Bye.